here we go. So back in May, on the 30th, 31st, I don't know, I talked about it before. They Deep Silver released the Dead Island Definitive Edition for our Definitive Collection for Xbox One, PS4, and I think they also did it for PC. Which basically was just remastered versions of Dead Island Riptide, and then had the retro revenge game with it. So with the release of the remaster, there's been kind of a lot of speculation around it as to what it actually meant for, the Dead Island 2 game. So for those who don't know, Dead Island 2 was announced last year. It was actually supposed to come out in December of 2015, and it got pushed back to be released in December of 2016. So this is one of those pre-orders, kind of relaying back to another episode that we had previously where we were talked about companies putting games up for pre-order and then continually pushing them back, and eventually it not leading to the release of the game, and then it kind of just leaves gamers with this sense of abandonment or losing kind of I don't know, I know the word and I'm just so tired. Trust, that's not the word I'm looking for, but losing confidence in the company and the developers and things like that. So we're running into this issue with Dead Island 2. So Dead Island 2 was set to be the third game in the Dead Island actual series, so excluding the retro revenge game, and it was going to be set here in the States. It was actually supposed to be set in California, which if you've played retro revenge, that one is also set in California. So my mindset on that one was that retro revenge was supposed to lead into what Dead Island 2 would be. And now there's a lot of talk that because it's been pushed back and because the developer changed, so in the middle of the development, this is another one of those companies where they started with one developer and then they dropped them. They lost it, they canceled the contract, and then they were seeking a new developer to finish the game with. And now there's this huge talk that, is this game even going to come out? Are they even going to put out the investment for it? So I'm kind of upset because I'm a huge Dead Island fan. I mean, I've streamed Dead Island both in One Punch mode and regular, and I like playing zombie games, but what do you guys feel about situations like this? Because now we don't have just the talk of, well, what if a developer does this? We are actually looking at a game. We have a game on the plate now that they're talking about canceling, that's been available for pre-order and is still available for pre-order from GameStop and things like that. But what started this whole thing about they're going to cancel it is that Steam had it up for pre-order, and about, I think it said 2 or 3 weeks ago, they took it down. And so now everybody's losing their shit, because Steam is one of the first places that people go, because typically games like this come out for PC first.
Oh, yeah. So
now that we actually have a game here that's actually risking this kind of situation that we were kind of just hypothetically before, using a hypothetical for before, I mean, is this something that we feel is going to really be a growing trend in smaller games like this? Because you guys know that Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide sold really well. And then there was this long gap of time. I think it's been 3 or 4 years since the last Dead Island came out. It's been a while. And now they what do you feel is leading up to this? Did they wait too long to put out Dead Island 2, or did they not do enough research to see if this was going to be a game that would sell? What do you feel are some of the things that other developers can look to when they create games that are follow-ups in trilogies like this, that would prevent this kind of situation and keep them away from, this happening to their games as well?
I think
I have a question for
honestly, sorry.
You said that it switched developers, right? That the publishing company switched from developer to developer. What exactly happened with the original developers of Dead Island? Or the situation that occurred?
This does not give a lot of information. They said that they just dropped the contract, and the developer actually took a really big hit. They were devastated by it.
Yeah, it's their baby. They've made 2 already, and it's supposed to be
so
franchise.
Deep Silver dropped the company that was going to be doing all of the graphics for it, is what happened.
Oh, the same company who put out ID number 9, but I'll digress on that one. Yeah, this is kind of a travesty in my mind, because this is a game that was pretty much almost done. It had a developer who, sorry, it's their franchise. I don't give a fuck if you're publishing it. It's who's making the game to me. It's their franchise. And you're basically taking their baby away from them, and now we might not even get it. This is, to me, almost turning into a topic of, do publishers have too much power?
Publisher stole my baby.
I mean, I think part of the problem was, I think definitely that maybe they did wait too long. I mean, Dead Island was, I don't want to say it like this, but it was another zombie game. We have a lot of them. We have Resident Evil.
Yeah,
we have Left 4 Dead. We have, hold on. Dead Island. I mean, there are other zombie games, and there are other games that will. Thank you. That was the game I was thinking of. Thank you. And Dead Rising. That was the other one. Okay. Sorry. I'm having brain farts. Yeah. I mean, we're in this void right now where there's so much going into zombie games because of the Walking Dead franchise, that everyone's like, oh, I want to play zombie games. And it's not, I think it's starting to die out. To the point that even I've watched some people on YouTube play the new, I know this is off topic, but I watched some people play the new Resident Evil 7 demo, and that looks nothing like the past Resident Evil games at all. They've had to revamp how Resident Evil's played so people will keep buying it. And I think that's one thing that maybe they did, that they've just made this rut, this huge just rut of like, this is how we're going to make this game. It's going to stay this way. And people are like, well, we have all of these other zombie games. We could do the same thing and even more. Why do we need this? And they were starting to realize that, and then time just became their worst enemy.
Yeah, there's definitely a zombie craze that went on for a short while, and it's dying down now, and zombies was always a need. I grew up loving zombie movies, and when zombie games started to get more popular, I loved it to death, but there is an oversaturation, but this is a really good series. I love the first one. I never sadly got to play Riptide. Hopefully one day we'll get to soon, but it's sad that I agree with you, Monkey Paws. I think they waited too long. I think the developers are trying to get it just right, and I think the publisher took it away from them. They were getting impatient, and now they're trying to turn to other companies real quick. They're not getting anything that they want, so they might just cancel it, and that's bullshit to me. Straight up bullshit to the fans.
Sorry.
Go ahead. I just hope it doesn't turn into another Duke Nukem type of situation where, you know, there's rumors that, oh, this person's interested, and then this person's interested, and then once it finally gets put out, it's just rushed garbage that, you know, granted, Duke Nukem Forever, that was mentioned 3 consoles ago, and then when they finally put it out, it was like, oh, you're literally using the same material you were using from the first one. But
shit stick.
Yeah. Anyway, but no, I do hope to see the game actually get made and get put out. I think publishers, you know, they look at things and they look at timing and everything else like that, and they take that into accountability. But at that same time, it's like, you know, I understand that you guys want this and that and this and that by this time, but at that same time, you got to understand, as developers, you know, we want this to be something that fans will keep coming back for. Like mentioned earlier, you know, Resident Evil, they have to change up the playstyle because they want people to come back to that game. The only difference between Resident Evil and, you know, with these guys, Dead Island, is the simple fact that it's like, oh, well, we have Capcom, who has tons and tons of game franchises that go on way past when they need to. Cough, looking at you, Mega Man, cough, cough.
Hey, Street Fighter also.
Oh, fuck Street Fighter in the ass. I mean, fornicate. Yeah, there's children that watch this show.
But yeah, like, and they just did not have the money to throw around or fight with the that is.
Well, see, now
Mike's not picking me up.
no, you're fine. There's another theory that kind of goes behind it, which, like I said, I mean, the reason that I say that there's not a whole lot of information is because there's so much information and none of it correlates with each other. There's too many different opinions as to why it happened, and none of them are the same. So, or at least not that I've read. If anybody watching the video actually has heard anything, comment on it, because I need to know. Like, people want to know this stuff. But a couple of gamers that play have had a different speculation, kind of like a conspiracy theory about it. When you look at games like Dying Light, Resident Evil, they have a certain type of atmosphere that Dead Island does not have. Dead Island is a very bright, vibrant, daylight zombie game. It is cartoony.
Yeah,
it is fun, but a lot of people prefer to have that dark, suspenseful horror to their zombie games that Dead Island does not have. They do in some aspects of the game. There are some missions that you do that are underground or traveling through World War II tunnels or something like that. But for the most part, you're out on a sunny beach, you're in the sand, you're out by the ocean. It's typically, water with a high salt content, so it's really pure and blue, and it doesn't look murky enough to be a zombie game. And so some people are like, well, maybe they switched publishers because they want to bring in a publisher that can capture that kind of atmosphere and bring that over here, so that because the new game is set in the United States is where they're primarily going to sell this. I mean, are they trying to switch because they, I don't know, want to take like the baby away, or it's costing too much? Or is it because they want to kind of bring that sense of realism and make it more realistic to bring this suspense back into the game?
If they do that, I think that would be a mistake on their part, because you need the opposite side of the coin flip. I think that's why these games sold so well. You got into it, you had a bunch of fun, there were wacky moments. You remember the opening cutscene to the original game? That was fun, and it got you into the game and ready to smash zombies' heads in. Not everything has to be dark and bleak and sombering, and sometimes you just want to go in there and have fun, man. Just have a good time.
But at the same time, if you don't evolve with the industry, then you're digging yourself in a hole anyway.
Very true, but sometimes it's good to go against the grain also. So it's a coin flip, and both sides are right on that end. So it's very true. They probably could have done it for that. I think
it's like they're stuck between a rock and a hard place at this point. Yeah. They can stay with the original game design, because obviously with the end of, I'm not going to give spoilers away, but with the end of Riptide and how that would tie in with, or how that would tie in with 2. You would almost want the same kind of color, vibrant. I mean, but if you just made it dark and murky, it almost wouldn't feel like the same game. I mean, they probably are stuck in between a rock and a hard place at this point.
Yeah, because I've seen like screenshots from Dead Island 2, and I mean, it's all the same as what they've had in their current games. It's just that there's some changes to the special infected. So in the other Dead Island games, the special infected were the witch, the butcher, the ram, the suicider, and the thug. And there's some changes to those for the one that's set in California, so Dead Island 2. But other than that, I mean, everything else is the same. They've put a little bit more texture on the walkers, the infected, stuff like that. But other than that, it's kind of stagnant. I mean, I'm still excited to play it, but it doesn't really seem like they took too much into advancing, is how I felt about it.
Yeah, they could have been trying to advance the story more than game mechanics, but we'll never know since it hasn't came out yet. My worry is, if it does ever come out, is the trust in the fans still going to be there? Are there going to be some concerns, and like, we're not going to pick this up on the first few weeks it drops, so your numbers and your sales are going to be down. Because first we want to see the reviews and see what other people are thinking of it. Make sure you guys didn't fuck this up since you took it from the original developers and basically shopped it around and made changes to it since. I wonder if that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be really interesting to see, I guess.
Hashtag zombie lives matter.
I guess.
Except for the ones that go for my
For
brain.
right now, it looks like
My lower brain.
Dead Island 2 is still slated for a release date of December 31st of 2016. So as of right now, it hasn't been given an official release date. Again.
Dead Island fans, keep your fingers crossed.
Yeah.
It just makes me really worried for Mass Effect Andromeda. It really does.
Yeah. It does seem to be going down that Duke Nukem to kind of route that IC Vakanaker brought up, which and I was a huge Duke Nukem fan, and that was the problem. They kept it in development for so goddamn long, and it switched so many goddamn hands from the original guys that it just turned into what it was. And I hope to God it doesn't happen here with Dead Island.